Good morning, everyone. I'm going to tell all the people in this room a secret. Church is getting ready to start. Come on in. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Chattanooga. I am the Reverend Mandy Goheen. My pronouns are she and her. It's my great honor to serve this congregation as its settled ministry and its head cheerleader for shared ministry. I am a person of Irish descent and all different kinds of descent, but I have family ties to Ireland that are pretty recent, and I'm excited to talk about some amazing feminist work that's been happening in Ireland recently and getting into the spirit of dandelions blooming and shamrocks and all the things. And so we're going to start this morning with an Irish blessing that my grandma said a lot. May the road rise up to meet you. May the winds always be at your back. May the sun shine upon your face. The rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of her hand. May God be blessed with you and you blessed. May you see your children's children. May you be poor in misfortune and rich in blessing. May you know nothing but happiness from this day forward. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind always be at your back. May the warm rays of sun fall upon your home. And may the land of a friend always be near. May the green grass you walk upon, may the blue be the skies above you, may the pure be the joy surrounding you, and may true be the hearts that love you. In the beginning of Unitarian Universalist services, everywhere here and in between, we light a chalice. And the chalice is pretty important today because the eternal fire of St. Bridget and Bridget the Goddess are part of and very closely symbolic to our chalice. And I'd like to invite Reverend Pam Johnson up to help light our chalice as we read the words together. In the light of truth and the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to share. Before we start singing, it is a tradition, beloved by extroverts everywhere in this church, to rise and greet your neighbor. But I want to remind us that we are a people of consent, and who you rise to greet is your choice. And I also want to challenge you to greet somebody who isn't in the same generational age category as yourself. So let's be friendly to all. We're going to rise and greet our neighbor, and then we're going to start singing the song. So please rise and greet your neighbors. Huh? I'm not your generation. Hey! Nice to see you. I'm glad to be back. Hey there. Good. How are you? Good. That was so funny. Did Andre tell you? I was in a doctor's appointment, and it's your voice in the background. It's the baby. It was hilarious. Like last week. Yes. Oh, guess what? I joined the Rare Autoimmune System Disorder Club. It's okay. It's an answer. It was Rare Disease Day this week. Rare Disease Day on leap year. Hi. Good. Welcome. Are you a hugger? Yeah. Good. We're so glad you're all here. It's going to be fun. Wow. Hi, everyone. Oh, that looks just like me. No. It does. Oh, yeah, yellow, like my earrings. Hello. Yeah, almost. Good morning. Blessings. Please rise in body or spirit. Please be seated. So, I'm going to tell you a story from memory because my iPad's not working, which seems like the story I tell a lot. Technology and me. So if anyone wants to come up, they're welcome to hear it better, but I'm pretty loud. So, oh. 1 moment. Thank you, iPad. Please stop telling us. Something went wrong. All right, here we go. Ready? Once upon a time, there was a beautiful pond out in the woods, and it was the kind of pond that is really fun to play in. It's the kind of pond that when you walk into, your feet squish with juicy earth between them, and the water's cool on a summer day. It's the kind of pond mosquitoes don't even like because it's so glorious and cool, but it had a keeper. A woman was the keeper of the water there, and she had different things she would say when the pond became dry and the fish had trouble swimming or the frogs were hiding out. And she was tired because she had done this work of being the keeper of the water for many, many years. And she didn't really have help. She knew someone had been born who would start doing this, and she observed a small child playing in the water. When she approached this child, she said, "I'm so glad you're here. I've been so tired, and you're here, and you're meant to take over the work." And the kid's like, "But I'm playing in the water." Because playing in the water is really fun, right? And because I'm playing in the water, I will not take on your work, and I will not say the words and the prayers to keep the rain coming and the creeks running, and I will be too busy smearing mud on myself and making crowns out of dandelions and singing. And the old woman said, "Okay, we'll see what happens," as people who are wise say. And she went off to rest. And the next day, the child came to the pond, glopping through the mud that didn't quite squish up through their toes as much as it had the day before. The child noticed the edges of the water had started to recede and the plants were wilting. "Oh, well," the child thought, "I'm going to go play." So the child went and played in the water and swam with the fish and counted the tadpoles and found a sunny rock to go to sleep on. While the child was sleeping on the sunny rock, they heard a voice. "You are the keeper of the water. You must do your work to keep the land moist and wet and alive." And the child said, "But I'm having fun. I'm too busy to take care of the earth and take care of the water. That's too big of a job for just me, a little child." And the child went to sleep on the rock and woke up late in the afternoon. And when the child woke up, noticed that the pond was visibly drier than before they had gone to sleep. Noticed the cattails starting to wilt and wither and brown edges appearing on the side of the creek. "Oh, well," the child said, "it will be fine. I don't have time to take care of that." As time went on, the creek got dried up and the pond shrank and shrank until it was just a circle in a ring of mud. And the child sat quite grumpy in the middle of that puddle, in the middle of the pond, where their playmates were no longer present. And just then, the child remembered that it was their responsibility to say the words that filled the creeks and filled the air and made the rains come. And that even though they were only a small child, and it seemed like a big job, that it was so critically important to the earth that they do this, that they started celebrating and enjoying the songs that they sang to fill the creeks, enjoying welcoming their playmates back, the fish, and the frogs started laying eggs again, and there were tadpoles again. And pretty soon that work that seemed so overwhelming and such a distraction from having fun was fun and was what the child wanted to do. And so the moral of this story is, none of us are enough by ourselves to heal this earth. But each of us doing the things we need to do, even if it's not as much as you think you should do, will help. Composting, being thoughtful of what you pour down the drain, using things again, and that's the thing I really want to lift up. Reusing. Let's focus on reusing and being innovative of how we reuse things to do something else. So with that, and with the idea that we all have power to heal and change the world, I would like to sing our young folks off to religious education. St. Bridget's Flame in Kildare, and it's one of the eternal flames in the world that continues to burn. This flame was out for a while during the Protestant Reformation, but it has been relit. It has been rekindled by women in Ireland who knew the importance of holding it sacred and watching it, and I just love for us as Unitarian Universalists that it's so closely symbolizes our chalice too. I just think that's a really neat parallel, specifically a parallel that there's a sign that healing and welcome is available there, because that's our story about the chalice, and we'll hear later that's her story too. Her story. Oh, you'll hear that again today, friend. Oh, I gotcha. So this is a time where you are invited to come forward and light a candle for a joy or concern you might be holding, a wish for healing, a hope or a dream, something you just need to keep in a space a little bit further outside of yourself. Here we have St. Bridget's well. We'll talk about wells as well. And there are tiny stones to drop in the well for your intentions. And one of the things that I've been really intent about right now is people feeling better and healing and the earth waking up. So you have two options during the music to come either light a candle, place a stone in the well, or both. So I would invite you all forward. So, I don't know if you heard, my job is to teach y'all spiritual practices to help you get through the week. Have you ever known that? And I've been talking with Layla about how we could use some music to help us remember in this season of approaching politics. How to breathe and when to remember to breathe and some tools for breathing. So this entire month, right after candle lighting, we will be working on singing a meditation on breathing. So the choir's going to help us out the first time, and you tell me what to do next, because I don't know. What do you think? Yeah, come on up. We'll change the slide. It's not there. So how did somehow in the world we go from goddess of poetry, the hearth, and healing to Catholic saint of poetry and healing, and the best part, making beer and some other stuff? What'd you say? Say it out loud. Syncretism. That, yes. And also the interesting story about Bridget, who I'm going to use both of these women a little interchangeably today when I talk about them. The interesting thing is she is pre-Roman Christian when she is named a saint. And that is important to me because as the feminist I am, she's non-patriarchal as far as religion and Christianity goes in the formation of a monastery, not a convent, that had both men and women in it. Now, it might be that St. Bridget was named after the goddess by her father. This is around 500 when she dies. And so this is all previous. This is very early medieval kind of period. Think King Arthur kind of legends are popping up. So she may or may not be real, like the rest of our lives. So it may be real that she did have found this convent / monastery. And the very coolest thing about her in recent history is the Irish women have come together to do a herstory project where both pagan and Catholic women came together and got Bridget a national holiday and named a patron saint of Ireland equal with Patrick, who wasn't born there. So she's also, just to be a little saucy, the patron saint of snakes. So, you know, she's our multi-purpose girl. The stories of her miracles have put me in this, like, fantasy world of imagining my grandmothers, and my great-great-grandmother wouldn't get out of bed, good Irish lady, unless somebody brought her a little tea with whiskey in it in the morning. So I come from the line of these feisty folks, right? And so I know what it means to be raised in a place where the context of patriarchy was just different in our family, I think, than in other families. Partially it was the Catholicism, partially it was the power that was understood to be held by women to heal and understand what was needed for the farm. It was a collaborative action. My grandma was the outside kid. I found a picture of her this week holding 2 draft horses by the rings in her hand when she's 14 years old. Like, she was a farm girl. And she was inspired by this, and I think about the things my grandma did that really annoyed her parents, like give things away consistently, and that is part of the story of Bridget as well. The St. Bridget allegedly, not historically, there's no written record. St. Bridget was the daughter of an Irish chieftain and a Portuguese slave, a Christian Portuguese slave. And when she was born, and as a child, she had a tendency to give everybody's stuff away. It was her jam. And she got in trouble for it a lot. She gave all their butter away one day. And it reappeared. She gave the bread away. She specifically was welcoming people that no one would have anything to do with. During this very, her dad wound up going to the head guy at the monastery to ask for some counsel about how to handle her, essentially. And while they're debating what to do with her, because she had plucked out her eye as to not be married, and they are debating about what to do with her because she rejects the fact that she is even a dowry or part of that system. She steals her father's sword while he's out talking to the bishop and gives it to a leper. To which the dad's like, here you go. Have fun with this one. And her goal, and the reason why she was acting like this, is she did not want to commit to the married life. She wanted to be a vested virgin to God. She wanted to embrace a holy life, a life of thoughtful healing, a life of taking care of people as her primary goal. She has miracles, and these miracles are what helps her get canonized by the Catholic Church. She is later almost kicked out of that canonization because, friends, her miracles are not just making butter reappear. But that's good. So in this monastic convent life, she's considered the abbess or the bishop in this context, and another woman who is with her falls into her, I forget the exact terminology, had sex, got pregnant. You've heard of that, right? Anyway, the punishment for her, because she was a sealed virgin in that convent for being pregnant, was horrible. It was a life of penance. She no longer would have recognition. And so, Bridget's first miracle is an abortion. She lays in bed with Bridget and wakes up in the morning with no baby, no birth pains, and hence, Bridget also becomes the saint of labor pains. It is not always the way we think about it when we talk about the context and we talk about somebody who might have an abortion. Yes, that day we're talking about something that might happen, but we're not thinking about always the extensive change and consequence that folks can face because of it. Bridget goes on to brew beer and write poetry and continue to kick butt. One of the things that's really interesting about her as well is that during her seal, when she becomes married to Christ, essentially, they are checking her virginity. So I assume this is a little more scandalous than it sounds like in the book. Anyway, they're checking this all out, and one of the other saints present becomes so ecstatic with the Holy Spirit and God that he names Bridget the Bishop of Ireland. The Pope didn't like that. That wasn't exactly what they had in mind. So she has lost favor. When people in Ireland have needed something to depend upon during their plights, potato famines, the troubles, all the national stuff that's happening, there's a symbol that you will often see, which is her cross. She's holding the cross in this picture. It was in another picture. The symbol is a 4-part cross, not a Roman cross that sits up, but it's like almost like the God's eye thing that we used to make with yarn when we were kids. It's sort of that shape, but it's folded out of reeds. Now, St. Bridget has been bothering me. I just want to tell you. I looked up, how do you know if St. Bridget is in your life, and why would she be? And it was like, oh, you'll find a new talent, which I have found a new talent. Okay. She's the goddess of healing. I have needed that lately. I was looking for an image of dandelions I promise had nothing to do with her, and I clicked the picture on my phone, and it said, Bridget's Field of Dandelions, so she is bugging me. She won't leave me alone. She won't leave me alone because of her humor and her joy, and I want to read you her poem before we get serious again. It is called St. Bridget, the Lake of Beer. I would wish a great lake of ale for the King of Kings. I would wish the family of heaven be drinking throughout life and time. I would wish the men of heaven in my own house. I would wish vessels of peace be given to them. I would wish joy be in their drinking. I would wish Jesus to be there amongst them. I would wish 3 Marys of great name to be there. I would wish the people of heaven from every side. I would wish there to be a rent prayer to the Prince. The way it was in trouble, he would give me a good blessing. I would like the angels in heaven to be among us. I would like the abundance of peace. I would like the full vessels of charity. I would like the rich treasures of mercy. I would like the cheerfulness to preside over all. I would like Jesus to be present. I would like 3 Marys to illustrate the renown to be with us. I would like the friends of heaven to be gathered around from all parts. And I would like myself to be a rent prayer to the Lord, that should I suffer distress, he would bestow upon me a blessing. I would like a great lake of beer for the King of Kings. I would like to be watching heaven's family drinking through all eternity. I would like to give God a lake of beer. I love the heavenly the host to be tipping there for all eternity. I love the men of heaven to live with me, to dance and sing. If they wanted, I'd put at their disposal vats of stuffing with cups of love I'd give them, with hearts and a half, sweet pitchers of mercy I'd offer to every man. I'd make heaven a cheerful spot, because a happy heart is true. I'd make men contend for their own sake. I'd like Jesus to love me too. I'd like the people of heaven to gather from all the parishes around, and I'd give a special welcome to the woman, the three Marys of great renown. I'd sit with the men, the women of God, and there by the lake of beer, we'd be drinking to good health forever, and every drop be our prayer. Fun, right? Like, I like the idea that she embraces the humor and the joy, not the suffering servant side that we often hear in these stories, where the Romanization of the Roman Christianization of pagan practices take things for themselves. When I started this journey of understanding Bridget, I assumed we had stolen her too. I assumed that the Catholic Church had just said, oh, there's another pagan, we'll have her so that everybody will come to church. But when I kept reading and I saw Bridget as a place where people were coming together, my opinion started to change. When I understood her as pre-Roman, pre-patriarchal, my opinion started to change. And on February 1st, 2022, was the first national holiday in Ireland for her. And they celebrated, and they had a day off. We love a day off, don't we? Wouldn't she be happy that everyone was off and partying, right? Like, she'd be like, yeah, we did it. It is so different of a perspective than we're used to hearing, that suffering is not the ticket to heaven. That actually joy is, and taking care of ourselves is, and specifically welcoming people that are difficult to welcome with joy and love. It is a thing that we could practice in our everyday lives. It is an idea of spring. It's like when you see the dandelions coming up, they're telling us it's a little sign of welcome and a sign of renewal, a sign of things to come. And I want to tell you that if Christians and pagans in Ireland can get together and change the world and bring history back, we can do it too. We can bring our history back. We can listen to the parts that are hard, weave them with the parts that are good, and be joyful while we do it. We can learn from things like Catholic saints. I haven't been Catholic for a minute. I remember the last day. I was in church. St. Brendan, another Catholic Irish saint, St. Brendan's Church in Elkins, West Virginia, and the priest said, does church make you bored? And I was like, it got my attention. Why, yes, it does, sir. Maybe I'll have communion today if you're going to convince me. And I was like, come on, I'm going to this is my decision. Do I still take communion? Am I a Unitarian Universalist? Or am I still a Catholic? Am I both? And the poor man said the wrong words next. He started talking about football. And I was like, nope. And it went from that, like it was, and there is God's sense of humor. There is the divines, Bridget's, whatever. There's a sense of humor in the universe that helped me through that time, where it was actually funny that I decided not to do this ritual anymore. Not a space of grief, a space of joy, a space of letting go. And so that is one of the things that religious history, specifically women's religious history, is going to bring us this month. It's going to bring us a lot of stories of earth-centered spirituality and how that is our grounding baseline, and all this other stuff moves out of it. It's going to celebrate that y'all are here because of a woman, I bet. And, all right, I was just clarifying that. I thought so. Got to start somewhere. We're talking about more youthful women today. Next week will be middle age, and the last week will be old age, and I'm the most excited about that title for that sermon because it's called Brooms Out Crones. So I'm excited to bring joy into our understanding of the importance of women and make it a space where we never have to push back on the patriarchy just to be the great leaders we are, because when we're all great leaders together, we are working for collective liberation and we can do anything. And with that, may it be so, and blessed be. What's next? I think, there we go, Dave. I've seen them before. Look at that. Yeah. Oh, you got it?
I was there too.
He was hot. Sorry, we kept the boys out of the picture.
That's what they're saying.
They all say that.
I was also at the women's march yesterday, which downtown, which was encountered by the anti-abortionists who tried to shout us down. That was an interesting situation. We had to call the police. I'm going to talk about democracy this month, except for one Sunday when somebody else is going to talk about it. I'm not going to define democracy for you because it's a noun and a verb. It's both. What I'm going to do this morning is read you some quotations by various more or less famous people about democracy, and you can pull out of these quotations the essence of what they think democracy is. Some of those opinions are related to the occupation that they were pursuing, and is related to that closely. Let me just go through these, and I'll pause a few seconds so you can think about them. Here's James Madison, who was an author of a major part of the Constitution. A pure democracy is a society consisting of a small number of citizens who assemble and administer the government in person. He was a patrician, of course. Abraham Lincoln. A democracy, that is, a government of all the people, by all the people, for all the people. Quite a contrast there. Supreme Court Justice Louis Brandeis. We must make a choice. We may have a democracy, or we may have wealth concentrated in the hands of a few, but we cannot have both. Albert Camus, who of course was a Frenchman where liberty was invented. Democracy is not the law of the majority, but the protection of the minority. Franklin Roosevelt, who's at one of the first, second, or third finest presidents we've had, according to latest opinions. Democracy cannot succeed unless those who express their choice are prepared to choose wisely. The real safeguard of democracy, therefore, is education. Yes. I think you can apply that all over the world, including to Afghanistan right now. Justice Anthony Kennedy. Democracy is something that you must learn each generation. It has to be taught. Winston Churchill, who was an aristocrat. Democracy is the worst form of government, except for all the others. He was also rather cynical. Henry Kissinger. Democracy is too important to leave up to the votes of the people. Henry used to spread democracy at the point of a gun. Thomas Jefferson, in his when he was president in 1816, the end of democracy and the defeat of the American Revolution will occur when government falls into the hands of lending institutions and moneyed in corporations. Barack Obama in the State of the Union. It should be the power of our vote, not the size of our bank accounts, that drives our democracy. Naomi Klein. Democracy is not just the right to vote, it is the right to live in dignity. George C. Marshall, who directed the Marshall Plan that reconstructed Europe after World War II. Democracy is the most demanding of all forms of government in terms of the energy, imagination, and public spirit required of the individual. Walter Cronkite. Freedom of the press is not just important to democracy, it is democracy. Mahatma Gandhi. I understand democracy as something that gives the weak the same chance as the strong. Calvin Coolidge. If American democracy is to remain the greatest hope of humanity, it must continue abundantly in the faith of the Bible. God, of course, is not mentioned in the Constitution. Theodore Roosevelt. A great democracy has to be progressive, or it will soon cease to be great or a democracy. Thurgood Marshall. To protest against injustice is the foundation of all of our American democracy. Che Guevara. Democracy cannot consist solely of elections that are nearly always fictitious or managed by rich landowners and professional politicians. That applies here, it seems to me. Karl Marx. Democracy is the road to socialism. Think about it. Hillary Clinton. There cannot be a true democracy unless women's voices are heard. There cannot be true democracy unless women are given the opportunity to take the responsibility for their own lives. Now, democracy is a big subject, and we're not going to cover it in 1 month. What I'm going to do is pick out 2 or 3 crucial elements of democracy. I think the first one I'm going to look at is the idea of liberty and freedom and how they exist in the Constitution. I think I also want to look at voting. I haven't decided quite how to do that yet, but I want to find some way to show that in the Constitution voting is protected, unlike what's going on now. So, to the future.
So I have double microphones. Oh, fancy. So this is the time in our service where we collect our offering. And I was discussing this with another colleague, another minister the other day, and they were saying, I think of this as the Unitarian Universalist sacrament. And I thought that was really interesting. It was an interesting way to look at it. She said, it's like our one thing we do that is consistent, besides most of us light a chalice, is that we support that democracy. And I want to remind everyone that one of the principles of Unitarian Universalism is the democratic process. It's part of our baseline of who we are. And in that democratic process, there are ways to vote with what our resources, and one of the resources we have is money for this community and this congregation. And we do follow democratic process here. This is a place where the minister is just the boss in her head, which is nice, and not like the person who has dictation over what people give and how they do it. We decide this together. I'm not someone else. I'm one of all of you. And that is what shared ministry is. And when you contribute to shared ministry, we get to do amazing things. Was anyone at some strange event last week called an auction? Was anyone there? That is a democratic process of leadership that somebody took that project on. I'm looking for her. Where is she? As before we offer our money, I'm going to ask Terry Beal to stand for a moment, as you are willing and able. And our first offering today is going to be applause. And I just want to say thank you, because through effort and great skill and just tenacity, you helped close a budget gap at this church, and you are deeply appreciated for that. So,
Couldn't have done it without loads of help.
loads of help, but we also needed a boss, y'all. So, so with that, the auction made over $12,000 profit. And that means, you're kidding me, right? Like, what? And that was because everybody worked together in that collective ministry format to do something. And what did we do? In the spirit of St. Bridget, we had a fine time that night, too, right? We had a good time. It was a time to celebrate, be together, and there was space for everyone, regardless of their resources. So thank you for that. And with that, I'm going to ask you to contribute to our church. And maybe you only have $1 today, but every dollar makes a difference. Maybe you have 1,000. That would really make a difference. So the offering will be gratefully received. Please join me. Oh, please. This one? Oh, that, okay. Please join me for our with our offertory response. We give these gifts freely, committed to our mission to care, create beloved community, awaken hearts and minds, resist injustice and act with compassion, embrace life and care for the earth. To this work, we dedicate our offerings. This is my favorite hymn. And it's a spoken word hymn. So if you're not the bestest of singers, you're supposed to say this. So you can do it either way. So please rise in body and or spirit, and let's do a little dance we do. I said it was my favorite hymn, I also bought the auction item of banning a hymn, and I might change my mind about how I feel about that. So what? There are things and people in our life that help give us strength and anchor us and get us through. It is the part of Catholicism I miss. I miss the patron saints. Not because I was, as my friends asked, do you worship them? Not that, but it was always like a friend, a special person to ask for help, to intercede, to be praying for you. It's no different than asking a person, if this is your practice, to pray for you or to think about you or to hold you in the light. It's just asking someone who might already be a little closer to the source to say, put in a good word for you. It's a way of centering yourself and leading with love and welcome when you don't know what the outcome is why she inspires me. So this week, let's welcome people, welcome even ourselves, parts of ourselves, with a welcome that makes it hard to leave, and with a welcome that we don't have an expectation of gain from. This is about practicing love and generosity. This is about smiling at people on the street we don't know. This is about striking up conversations at your children's strange sporting events. This is about being creative and reaching out and finding friends who have common feelings as you, because just like we need each other in this space, there are folks out there who need us just as much. So go into your week welcoming with love. And since I'm standing here, Pam, I'm not going to make you get up. So this is our chalice extinguishing. Please join me in this chalice extinguishing words. We extinguish this flame, but keep the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and share with all the world. Well, my breath. Okay. You're not supposed to do that. Okay. It's announcement time. Yay. I have three announcements. 12 announcements of my own. If you are interested in joining this church as a voting member this month, let me know. Okay? 1. 2. After church, we are having a discussion about sheroes, like herstory, all those little punny things. It's so punny, but I want to talk about specifically after church this group of women called the Prophetic Sisterhood who settled Unitarian churches during westward expansion while all the dudes were busy with the Civil War. The women were out planting churches. So I'm going to talk about them. And then the third part is I'm going to start developing another shared pulpit cohort, which is the preaching class. If you were interested in taking that before and weren't able to manage coming, please let me know. There'll be sign-ups for that stuff next week, just so you know. So those are my announcements. Does anybody have any announcements besides me? Come on up. Oh. Come on down up. Get up, get down.
I want to thank everybody who has contributed to our food drive every month. On Monday, we delivered 190 pounds of food to the Chattanooga Area Food Bank, and a lot of peanut butter was there. Thank you so much.
I messed your announcement up.
No, I've got more to add.
Okay,
So,
perfect.
as Rev. Mandy said, the auction last week made, as of this moment, the profit at $12,360. But we have an opportunity to increase that because we do have a number of items left over that are still available. In fact, there's almost $1,200 worth of items. So the website has, the Octria platform website has been revamped to have only those items. There are dinners, there's art, there are tickets, there are fun meals, there are services, there's some jewelry. So if you were at the auction, you've got that platform on your phone already, and you can go there and bid. If you don't, or if you weren't there, I've got the URL written on these handy little pieces of paper I can give you so you can take it home, or I will have laptop out in the social hall so you can look and see what's left, and maybe we can get up to something higher.
Good morning. Well, it's afternoon, just on the dot. I'm Jen. We're doing a little spring cleaning around here. We cleaned out a tablecloth closet, and we cleaned out a cabinet, and we have a lot of things that we're just not going to ever use again. And they are back there in that corner. They are free for you to take. Please help yourself. Please take a look. They will be gone after today. We really, really, really don't want to have them anymore. There is one large, it looks like it's made out of clay. It's affectionately called the blob. We would like to not have that anymore either, but we want to know more about it because we don't know its story or its significance to this church. So if you know anything about a clay, stone, something, please come and let me know if we should keep it.
Oh, I see a hand up. All right, we're going to find the mystery
We're going to figure it out. Everything else, please
go.
help yourself, please. Thank you.
Rock bottom prices. Well, with that, any other? Oh, come on up, Christian. Oh.
No, it's just a challenge to everybody. What happens next Sunday to time?
Oh. Wait a minute. Wait, I just joined the choir. That was a trick. Now I have to get there even an hour earlier? It goes the other way?
So when you're coming here at 11, what time is it going to be? It'll be 11.
3 in the morning? I don't know.
Morning.
Oh, I knew this thing was.
Oh, okay, I will put the history of the blob in the newsletter.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So you can go in depth and do a deep dive, but it's from a famous potter who was a member of this church. Who was, sorry, I know too much. So it's going to be in the newsletter. Y'all are going to have to read the
The
newsletter.
history of the blob.
Sorry, I still got up because I heard people saying, no, it's 10. No, when you think it's 11, it's going to be noon. You're just ready for lunch. And you miss the service next
Spring
Sunday.
forward.
So
Spring
you get the
forward.
opportunity to sleep
Spring.
an hour less.
You can face the chairs towards the entrance and
Oh, I heard a good comment. Your phone is smarter than you are. So it'll be okay. With that jolliness, our service has ended, and may our service to the world begin and take that light out and that love and that welcome to make it a better day for yourself and other folks. Have a great day. Yeah, I don't want to look at it. Yes.